Hey class, Mr. Henry here with another video. Today we start our third week of quadratics, and we have been talking about how the equation connects to the graph. And so we've seen the equation of a quadratic written in two different ways. This one here on the left is what we call factored form, right, where we have a pair of binomials and they are written like this, which essentially means these are being multiplied by each other. The other way we can write the equation of a quadratic is what we call standard form. And that's what you see on the right here, where we've got a term that's got an x squared, we've got a term that's got an x, and then we've got a term that's just a number. There always has to be this x squared term. The other two, you might have one or the other, you might not have any of those, but it's still quadratic. But that is what we call standard form. I've included the graphs of these here just so that you know that these are actually the same thing. These are the same graph, which means that these two equations have to be equivalent to each other. They mean the same thing. And so what we are learning about this week is how we can get from one of these forms to the other. So in our first two activities, we'll be looking at how we can go from factored form to standard form by doing what we call expanding. That's just a fancy term for saying that we are actually going to be multiplying this. We're going to take the x minus 3 and we are going to multiply it by the x plus 5. And that is going to give us what we have here on the right. So by the end of the first two lessons, you should be able to take something like this, x minus 3, x plus 5, and convert it to what you see here on the right. A bit later this week, in the third and fourth activities, we'll look at how we can go the other way, how we can take something that's written in standard form and rewrite it in factored form by doing what we call factoring. And so if we factor something, we basically take it from standard form and we can convert it to factored form. So the goal of this week is basically to get familiar with how I can change from one of these forms to the other.